All right, here we go. Welcome to Motor Mayhem. Today we are sitting here with Tim Diver, the owner, and welcome to Motor Mayhem. My name is Kyle. No, how about this? Welcome. No, hold on. We're gonna do this right. My name is Kyle. Welcome to Motor Mayhem. No, that didn't sound right.
Welcome, I'm Kyle. Welcome to Motor Mayhem. Let's get this shit started.
There it is.
This is Tim Diver. How you doing, Tim? Nice to meet you.
Perfect. That's the intro. Cut it. We're good. All right, so we are sitting here with Tim Diver, the owner and mastermind of Diver Street Rods. How you doing?
I'm doing good, Kyle. How about yourself?
I'm good. I'm good. This is the first interview for the Motor Mayhem channel, and I'm glad I got Tim Diver.
It's actually got an S on the end, but
Tim Divers.
It's all good. It's all good. We did good guys shows for the last 30 years. They still leave the S off. I don't correct them. So.
Well, it's more of a nickname, right?
Yeah, I suppose.
Diver. You know, divers like driver.
Yeah.
So
kind of pretty much the same.
Yeah, when I first met you, I thought it was drivers.
Well, it would make more sense if it was Driver Street Rods instead of Divers. I should have sold scuba gear or something, you know?
Yeah, right, exactly, instead of cars.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I wanted to sit down and talk with you, and where did this all start? I mean, how about let's go all the way to the beginning. Where did Tim grow up, born and raised?
I was born in Wisconsin, but we moved when I was 3, so we lived in Falls City, a little town called Falls City, so that's where I grew up.
Yeah.
My family was tied in with cars. My dad's cousin had a service station repair shop, so, but if you go way back, I think I got some pictures of us in some old go-karts that we first started building, so that was probably our first motorized vehicles was the go-karts. And we had a track across the street, it was an empty lot, so we finally figured out the steering and make sure it went the right way. But our last go-kart didn't have brakes, and the pedal was set up to where you let go of it, the spring took it wide open, direct drive. So we couldn't afford a clutch. All the other kids could afford clutches and shit, but we didn't have clutches. So
it was a reverse gas pedal.
Yeah, so basically it just, once you let go of it, it's just wide open and you push down on it to slow it down. When you don't have brakes, you have that capability, right?
Yeah, right.
Feels like you're putting on the brakes, but all you're doing is taking off the gas, basically. So
that's pretty cool. So you were kind of born and raised into a car world. Your dad had the service station. What was your first car?
Well, it was my dad's cousin that had the service station.
Oh, okay.
And we were doing, I was doing 13, 14 years old. I was doing brake jobs. Lady came and goes, "That kid working on my car? He knows what he's doing," So. So we grew up around a car kind of family. So I guess I was about 14 or so. I picked up a 60 Chev step-side truck. I wanted a 55, but couldn't afford a 55.
I understand that.
My brother helped me build it, painted black with flames, had a little 327, a little 3-speed. We bought a total Impala to do it. So I think there's a picture of us in the Falls City parade. My brother's driving because I still hadn't had a driver's license yet. So that was my first vehicle, was that truck.
Oh, that's cool. So what was the first vehicle you cut up and made custom? Because obviously you've done something to get to this world of making custom cars. What was that first vehicle you really modified to make something different?
It was a 70 Chevelle, which it was an SS big block car, which at that time we didn't think they were going to be valuable, right? So we ended up cutting it up, fender flaring it. My brother did a diamond tough interior in it, painted it red with black stripes with the metallic, the old days with the metallic, kind of the bolt metallic.
Yeah.
So that was probably the first one we cut up. My brother had done CUDA before that and stuff, so we had the garage and all our buddies would come over, and that's one good thing. My dad let us just kind of tinker, so we'd have the driveway full of cars and modifying, and then we had to rake the driveway afterwards because he didn't like his gravel all screwed up. So
we're doing burnouts in the gravel there.
Just even scuffing your feet on it, right?
Yeah.
Kind of hard to roll a jack in the gravel though, and if you drop something, you better have a magnet if it's with it.
Yeah, I grew up on a gravel driveway. it was hard to find anything on that road. I was dropping bolts and whatever. So you grew up building cars, pretty much working on cars the entire time. What made you start Divers Street Rods?
Well, we had it called something else. Well, my brother taught himself how to paint and taught himself how to sew. We couldn't afford to have anybody do our cars, so we had to kind of learn to do it ourselves. So then we would do it for friends. And then in the early 80s, we were introduced to a street rod shop, and it's like, wow, people do this shit? I mean, really? And they can actually make money? I didn't make money at the beginning, trust me. But we worked for a street rod shop called Rich's Street Rods. So that's where we were able to learn from other craftsmen, you know, and we took what we'd already learned, and it's just a work in progress. I mean, we're still learning. But that's when we started that, and then we branched off and started our own gig because we wanted to build it our way or do it our way. So I think most people that start out their own company or own business think they can do it better, or they just have their own way of doing it.
Yeah, totally understand that feeling. It always sucks to be told what to do. It's a lot easier to be doing what you want to do. So when you guys started up, what was your first major build? I mean, how did you find these customers to actually pay you money to do what you love, to build something custom for them?
Well, I guess it evolved into that. I mean, at first we were just doing upholstery jobs or building an aluminum hood or, you know, building parts and pieces of a car. And then, you know, they figured out we could do a car from start to finish. What a great thing for a car guy to be able to build something you never built in a lifetime, right? Because these guys are usually successful businessmen.
Yeah.
And I think it's by your actions. I think, you know, they see what you build and what you do, and then that guy tells his other friend, hey, this guy is the one that did my car. I feel fortunate that, you know, for a guy that didn't do very well in school and loved automobiles, that we would roll into something that it's still a lot of hard work. At the end of the day, you know, we get to work with our hands. There's some satisfaction of, you know, working on something and really having something at the end of the day, even if it turns out like crap, you know. I mean, at least you work with your hands and you know how not to do it tomorrow, right? You know, we've had over the years TV people approach us, but it's really steady eddy, slow. It's not really super exciting. I mean, only time I remember, or one of the times I was building the hood, and it was, you know how when you go too far with something, you go, I should start over, but you already have so much time invested in it. So I took it out in front of the shop there and jumped up and down on it so that I wouldn't go back out there and pick it up, so I'd actually start over with it. So
Yeah, I totally understand that feeling of you put so much work into something and it doesn't turn out how you want it, but you've already put that work into it. That you're right, you just got to go out there and just destroy that thing so you don't move on with that crap. So you've built a lot of award-winning cars. Yeah, what was your first major car that you were planning to put into a car show?
Again, it kind of seems like it evolved. I use that word a lot
Okay.
because it's one of those things where each car is really individual. It's an individual piece, and it's always the next one that you're kind of working on. And then we were fortunate enough to, you know, we had, I think, 5 or 6 top 5 picks at good guys, and they range in different cars. And the cool thing is that customer kind of has a car that he wants to start with, and he has some ideas, and then with our ideas, we put it together. So it's not just our ideas or just his ideas. You know, if somebody wants a 32 in red with Hallebrand wheels on it, they can pretty much have anybody do that. Our customers that I've done cars for years, they don't only come for us to build a car, they come for our ideas and creativity with theirs. I know a lot of the builders, you know, over the country, and there's a lot of talented guys building stuff, you know, and it's younger generation really starting to build some really cool stuff. And I don't think I don't feel in competition with them. It's, you know, kind of competition with yourself. And it's still somebody's opinion, right? I mean, a car show is an opinion. It's not like a foot race. It's not like I'm going to race you to the door and chances are you're going to beat me because I'm an old guy, right? But we're going to know who won, right? To where a car show is really people's opinions, and not saying that they're not looking at quality and those kind of things, but it's really an interpretation. So I always say build what you want to build, right? And these guys have already, most of them had Ferraris or Lamborghini or supercars or whatever. They want something personally built for them, right? And I always try to instill them. It's like, well, I don't know if I should do that. If that's, if it's really true for you, it doesn't matter what other people think about it.
Yeah, right. It's a personal preference. It's art.
Yeah, I've heard it called rolling art. At least you can get in and drive it, to where painting you can just hang it on a different wall, I guess. I don't know.
Right.
Not that I got anything against art some of this, because I can't outline a stick figure. I know what one of the studios, Hot Rod Studio, they have this board where all these great builders have come with their cars, and they had them write on and signature, and they're great. They drawing and stuff, and it's like, I was just like, are you kidding me? So I literally drew a stick figure with a cigar, and it's still there today. So it's like,
totally.
It is, a craftsmanship. It's old coach building of cars. We build pretty much nowadays. We'll build just about every part of the car, so we're not building the same thing over again.
Yeah, from ground up. And one thing that I was noticing as I was walking around, you don't have like what a lot of car builders do. They draw out, okay, the car is going to look like this, and they make a big, nice, pretty picture and whatnot. You just kind of pick a car and you go with what's in your mind and kind of what the customer's thinking.
Yeah, I mean, my brother does a lot of drawings. So like,
okay,
on the bottom of this car here, there's a picture. Doesn't go for colors or just a finished picture usually, because it's a work in progress and it's going to change. So, but those we don't hang around, but I think there's some on the back wall. But we usually, they're guides to help the customer go, okay, this is what we're thinking about doing to your car. Because the last thing I want to do is spend all these hours building something, and they think they know what we're talking about, and we think they know what we're talking about, and then they go, that's not what I thought it was going to look like. So the drawings help you give you a really good picture with the customer of kind of the direction you're going. Now, Foose is like phenomenal about building and drawing, and he'll even admit that you don't build the drawing, you build the car. So there's things that change once you get back and look at that car, and you go, gosh, I thought that was a bit, I don't like the curve of that fender or something, because you walk around it because you see it in 3 dimension.
Yeah.
Well, if I can only draw stick figures, that's not a 3-dimensional picture, right?
Yeah.
So a lot of that is the drawings help us. Some of the mechanical drawings help us on, what's that fuel tank, but we're going to draw our frames. We have Morrison usually bend up our rails, and they work with us because we're always doing one-off. I used to always say the car tells you what it wants, right?
Yeah.
And my one customer goes, so do you think the car's talking to you? So I mean, it's to that direct. What does he say? Was the name yet? So I think you have to be prepared to go, yeah, that was a great idea, but I don't really like how it looks. Or if a customer goes, that's not really what I had in mind, can we do, and I never want to get hurt feelings about that part of it, because I want what's best for the car. So, and we have the other guys that work with us. We got a group of young guys, and they put their input in, and it's kind of a collaboration.
Kind of like a giant team, team building. You're not just a name; you have a whole crew behind.
Right.
It's not just one person building a car.
Correct. So they always want to put the builder, like builder, build off, and all that stuff. But it's not very often. I think, my brother, of course, he's not here right now, so I can say this, is that he's the only guy I know that could build a Riddler car from start to finish, right? I mean, he could paint it, he could metalwork it, he could draw it, he can, but he's not going to be on a TV show.
Yeah.
Just not,
Yeah.
So.
What was your favorite build? Out of all the builds you've done, what is your favorite build?
I always say it's the next build, because you're always moving on, so it's always not a super favorite, but fortunate to win Riddler, which is kind of the Super Bowl of custom car building.
Yeah. Which car did you do that with?
That was we called it Ferrambler. It was a 60 Rambler wagon. So, to be a part of that, and we built cars for Mike before, and you know, and it's a big feat to do that. It's a lot of money because it's a lot of hours hand built, and you know, to take a Ferrari power plant and cut up a Ferrari, it's like, man, I never thought as a kid that we were going to be cutting apart a Ferrari, right? You know, and it was already wrecked. So,
that's good.
yeah, I guess son used it on prom night, and
Well,
anyhow, lucky for us.
I would not let a son use a Ferrari on prom night.
So that one was probably just because of the notoriety it got. But I mean, we've done a Subaru powered bus that, you know, the kids enjoyed, and the VW guys loved. You know, so we've been a part of a lot of cars. I don't really have a favorite. I think the next challenge is kind of the next thing that we're doing. You know, so.
Well, speaking of the next thing you're doing, what are these upcoming projects? I mean, you have this one sitting behind us.
Yeah, so that's the '67 Nova. It's got a full chassis underneath it. Morrison style. It's running an LT5, 750 horsepower motor out of the ZR1, and it runs a overdriven crank pulley, so it'll be probably 850 horsepower.
With a Corvette heart.
Yeah. So that's not the first time that's happened, but there's, you know, the motor's a certain size, and so you have to build around it.
For a guy like me, somebody that aspires to maybe build an award-winning car one day, what would you tell the average man out there that's wanting to build a car like this? What advice would you give him? Just, hey, go cut a car up and see what happens, or?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of videos on metalwork, and there's a lot of information in today's world, and YouTube videos. Yeah. So there's that. I mean, sometimes we get stuck somewhere. It's like, no, let's go watch a YouTube video, right? So. But I really say, you know, we always say think out of the box. You know, if you're not living on the edge, you're taking up too much space. You know, you got to be true to yourself too. I mean, sometimes I think myself, including in the past, you get stuck into that thing of, you know, is this what people are looking for or not? To where I think if you build with quality and you try to be as creative as you can with it. There's not a wrong way to build a hot rod. I mean, it's like, you know, it's a hot rod, right? We take different parts and we match them together, and, you know, and I had, you know, Jay, old friend of mine, you know, what are you guys thinking? He used all kinds of cuss words, but, you know, and he'd go, you know, the big three spent billions of dollars designing this. You think you're going to throw this out and throw that out? It's like the harness for this car. You guys seen it earlier. It's just a big, it's like, well, we got to dial that down so it don't look like a big, you know, fire hose wrapped around the motor, right?
Exactly.
So I think really just being true to yourself, you know, and being patient with it, and just like we talked about earlier, is you know, when you get in anything like it looks like it's not going that way, hey, now I know not how to do it, right? And not to be afraid to change.
Well, there you go. Well, you know what? Thank you very much, Jen, for sitting down with me and doing this interview. And thank you guys. If you guys like this type of interview or whatever, make sure you hit that like, subscribe button, and if you want more, there's a bell notification. So thank you all, and thank you, Tim.
Thank you, babe.